And just based on like how close these last two builds were to one another, like the build for the marathon project and then the build here for McCurdy Micro, you already mentioned loosely like you did probably 99% of this build on the treadmill. Aside from being a very treadmill heavy build, was there anything else that you guys changed or tweaked from the marathon project build specifically to this one that maybe you didn't know at first, but allowed for that 3 minute jump from 212 to 209? Or what, how did those two builds differ?
Yeah, I'll let Brent take that one because he definitely came up with some very good new stuff.
Yeah, so we figured it would be a treadmill build, and I wanted to experiment a little bit with this one from more of my traditional approach to marathoning, like the longer tempos, the longer M pace sessions. Like to be clear, Nobbs hasn't always done that, but that's probably been the meat of most of our builds, and we've added a little bit each time. And so we talked about this time doing a little bit more 5K pace, 10K pace, a little bit more in and out, kind of like above and under marathon pace. So stealing and taking from others we've seen, and some of the Canova stuff. And we really thought about it because we were like, I think at this level, you do need to be a little bit faster. I think, 210, 212, and 209 now is a different race than even 215, 220, 230. And I think one of the hidden benefits we got out of this treadmill build that I didn't really reflect on until when we were talking yesterday on the drive back was I actually think because you had to do so much of your stuff on the treadmill, it stopped you from hammering yourself as if you were on the road or the track for the speed sessions. And so I think that's actually like a really big saving grace in this build because there was not a single workout across like under distance 5K, 10K work, marathon pace, in and out stuff where it was like he could run 209. Like I think I said to both of you that I was like, I could see him running 210.50, right?
Mm.
Like that would be a great day kind of thing. And I think the treadmill is something we might go back to now. It might suck because if you're in a fall build, you're going to be on the treadmill while it's sunny outside. But for some of those speed days, because I think it saves us a little bit. I think that's a little bit of the saving grace we got from that. Just knowing you as an athlete and how you would approach it, like you're going to want to go out on the road and the track and like hammer to get the splits and kind of prove, right? Versus on the treadmill, it was like, well, it's in miles and so we'll like just kind of set it and forget it and hold on. And so I think that was a big piece for this one. I think just the volume wasn't any different really. I think it even might have been a
Mm.
little bit less average than the marathon project, but there was a little bit more emphasis on a few more workouts in the build. In part, we did that because we were literally coming right off marathon project. You had a week where you were sick, literally coming out of the race. I don't know if we talked about that publicly yet, but you literally flew to Victoria back home the next day and was like having like hallucinations and fever on the plane because you were so sick. So we took most of that week off slash really easy jogging. I think we did a week or two of easy, and then we went into about a 10-week build on this one. And so the idea was we know he's really fit. We just did a bunch of volume, a bunch of threshold, a bunch of marathon pace. We had a performance that was pretty close to indicative of what we thought he could do. And then it's like, okay, let's pull like kind of his LT2 up and pull his VO2 max up by doing a little bit more of the higher intensity stuff, knowing that even if we miss the mark a little bit on ingredients, we've got that big base from like 3-4 months before. And so it's something interesting for us to consider about even how we're looking at structuring maybe a Chicago build, maybe doing a little bit more in the summer and then coming into a build like this. I don't know yet. We got to see kind of how the spring unfolds with some of the races we have planned, but that's from my perspective what we really changed. I don't know in terms of like your approach to workouts or anything to add to that, Tom.
Yeah, no, I think I've said this before, but it always amazes me how thoughtfully innovative that you are. We've been doing workouts and training together for so long, and there's always new workouts and new workouts that make sense within every build. And I think it's really cool to see like, oh, like we have Final Surge, we have
Yeah.
email, I have Google Sheets of all my old
Yeah.
logs and stuff like that. And you know, I can see like the little small tweaks. It's like the smallest tweak that we can make that makes the most sense. And that usually like the simplest change that you can make in training or the simplest workout is usually the most effective. But I think I see those small tweaks having made a difference, but really building off of the last build. So it's like, okay, well, we weren't doing as many long, grindy M pace sessions, but we still tapped like a few of those. We also like while we were hitting the higher intensity workouts pretty hard, we were also doing some over distance long runs. Like we did a 2 hour and 45 minute long run, and that was on the treadmill in the heat. We did a 3 hour long run on the treadmill in the heat, and that was 45K. So it's like, even if we weren't doing what people I think builds like aerobic strength, we were still like over indexing on other things that still top up, your aerobic capacity. So I think just like little things like that, I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Like I would have never thought of that, in my wildest dreams. Um, and then yeah, just from the training perspective, I think yeah, I training so long solo, even if we have daily rapport and stuff like that, I just need to come back to effort. And we talked about that too. But I think on a consistent basis, if you're dealing with crazy conditions, the wind in Ottawa is like usually insane. The treadmill will be consistent. There's going to be no wind. You know the temperature inside. You know the feel of the treadmill. So yeah, definitely an asset. And maybe it's an asset in springtime when it starts to get really windy, which I'm assuming it is right now, even today.
Yeah, I'll add something funny. I don't know if I told you this, Tom, but we were chatting with Merver while you were, I think you had like 2 laps to go or something. He's like, yeah, man, I looked him up on Strava. It's like, does he even train? Because it was like all like treadmill stuff at like, 8-minute miles kind of thing. So he was like, does he even I was like, oh, yeah, it's just treadmill. It's fine. He's like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, even like he literally looked afterwards because he wanted to know like if you were legit kind of thing and look at your workouts on Strava. And he was like, I don't know what this guy does. It was hilarious.
There's some guy on Strava, like what was like one of my last big workouts, big long run workouts, and he was like it auto uploaded the moment I hit like stop on
Yeah.
my watch, auto uploaded to Strava, and he was like nice splits, and I think he was just like a regular guy who's just like yeah nice splits, but it's like it's literally like 320s, 330s, 310s, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, those were not the splits I was even running. Like, he commented nice splits before I even added in the splits, which was like closer to like 307s, 306s
Yeah.
or something like that. So, yeah, it's just funny what you see and what you don't see. And yeah, don't copy elite training because you don't know the full story. Just go to the coach.
Yeah.